Alright, 10-8 in the diagram at the right, it assumes that the measure of angle ECB equals the measure of angle EAD, and point E is the midpoint of segment AC, and I've written that right up here. It says to prove the segment AD is congruent to segment CB. Alright, so usually in these types of problems we're looking for triangles, congruent triangles, to show that this segment AD is congruent to segment CB. So what I do is I start with the given information, and it doesn't matter what you start with. So we'll start with the measure of angle ECB is equal to the measure of angle EEAD. Okay, so and I'm getting this, it's given. So when I look at my diagram, I know that ECB, this angle, is equal to the measure of angle EAD. Okay, so alright, so that's good. So then, and I'm looking to prove that AD, this segment, is congruent to this segment. So the next statement they have is they say E is the midpoint of AC, segment AC. And so we know this is given. And so E is the midpoint. Okay, so if E is the midpoint, that tells me is the midpoint. So that tells me that this segment here equals this segment. And so I would go here and I would say segment AE is congruent to segment CE, and that is because the definition of a midpoint. Okay. Alrighty. So what else do I need to know? Alright, so what else I see here is I know that this angle right here is going to be equal to each other because those are vertical angles. So I would say angle DEA is congruent to angle CEB, and I know that because those are vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so now what I have, that information right there, hopefully everybody can see this, is that these two triangles are congruent. So from that statement I can say triangle ADE is congruent to ADE is congruent to, what's the same thing as A would be C, what's the same thing as D would be BE. And so I know these triangles here are congruent because of, looks like angle side angle. And so all of this information here points to this. Alright, and then from that statement I can see that AD has to be congruent to CB, and so from that statement we can say segment AD is congruent to segment CB, and that's because of CP CTC, or you could have congruent triangles then congruent parts. Either one would be acceptable.